The National Building Code of Canada, specifically Part 3, Article 9.13.2.11, addresses the use of flexible metal conduit, commonly known as FMC, in rated walls. This code provides regulations concerning the installation and application of FMC in construction, particularly focusing on fire safety and structural integrity. Understanding these regulations is crucial for electrical contractors, building inspectors, and anyone involved in construction projects to ensure compliance and safety. Article 9.13.2.11 likely outlines specific scenarios or conditions under which FMC is prohibited or restricted from being used in walls that have a fire resistance rating. These restrictions are put in place to prevent the spread of fire and maintain the integrity of the fire-rated wall. When a wall is designated as fire-rated, it means that it is designed and constructed to withstand fire for a specific period, providing crucial time for evacuation and fire suppression efforts. Penetrations in these walls, such as those made for electrical conduits, can compromise their fire resistance capabilities if not properly addressed. The National Building Code provides guidelines on how to maintain the fire resistance rating of walls when penetrations are necessary. This often involves the use of fire-stopping materials and techniques to seal any gaps or openings around the conduit. FMC, due to its flexible nature and potential for gaps between the conduit and the wall, may not provide adequate fire protection on its own in certain situations. Therefore, the code may restrict its use in fire-rated walls unless specific conditions are met. The specific requirements outlined in Article 9.13.2.11 could include restrictions based on the size of the conduit, the type of wall construction, the fire resistance rating of the wall, or the presence of other fire protection measures. For example, the code might allow FMC to be used in fire-rated walls if it is installed with approved fire-stopping materials that effectively seal the penetration and prevent the passage of fire and smoke. Alternatively, the code might prohibit the use of FMC altogether in certain types of fire-rated walls, such as those with a high fire resistance rating, requiring the use of rigid conduit or other approved materials. It is important to consult the specific wording of Article 9.13.2.11 in the National Building Code of Canada to understand the exact restrictions and requirements for using FMC in rated walls. The code provides detailed information on the types of walls, the permissible uses of FMC, and the necessary fire-stopping measures to ensure compliance. Additionally, local building codes and regulations may have additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. To ensure compliance with the National Building Code and any applicable local regulations, it is recommended to consult with qualified professionals such as electrical engineers, building inspectors, or fire safety experts. These professionals can provide guidance on the proper installation of electrical conduits in fire-rated walls and ensure that all safety requirements are met. Understanding and adhering to the regulations outlined in the National Building Code is essential for maintaining the safety and integrity of buildings and protecting occupants from the hazards of fire. By following the code's requirements for the use of FMC in rated walls, builders and contractors can help prevent the spread of fire and ensure the effectiveness of fire resistance measures. The National Building Code is a comprehensive set of regulations that governs the construction and renovation of buildings in Canada. It is developed and maintained by the National Research Council of Canada and is updated periodically to reflect advancements in building technology and safety standards. The code covers a wide range of topics, including structural design, fire safety, accessibility, energy efficiency, and environmental protection. It is intended to provide a uniform set of standards for building construction across the country, ensuring that buildings are safe, durable, and sustainable. Part 3 of the National Building Code specifically addresses fire protection, outlining requirements for fire resistance ratings, fire detection and suppression systems, and the control of smoke and fire spread. This part of the code is particularly relevant to the use of FMC in rated walls, as it sets the standards for maintaining the fire resistance of building elements. Article 9.13 of the National Building Code deals with electrical installations, covering topics such as wiring methods, grounding, and overcurrent protection. This article includes the specific requirements for the use of FMC in buildings, including the restrictions on its use in rated walls as outlined in Article 9.13.2.11. When interpreting and applying the National Building Code, it is important to consider the context of the specific project and the applicable local regulations. Local building codes may have amendments or additions to the National Code to address specific local conditions or concerns. It is also important to consult with qualified professionals to ensure that all code requirements are properly understood and implemented. In addition to the National Building Code, there are other relevant standards and guidelines that may apply to the installation of FMC in rated walls. These may include standards from organizations such as the Canadian Standards Association (CSA) and Underwriters Laboratories of Canada (ULC). These standards provide detailed specifications for materials, construction, and performance of electrical products and systems, including FMC and fire-stopping materials. By following these standards and guidelines, builders and contractors can ensure that the electrical installations in their projects meet the highest levels of safety and quality. It is important to stay up to date on the latest versions of the National Building Code and other relevant standards and guidelines, as they are periodically updated to reflect advancements in technology and best practices. Regular training and education can help professionals in the construction industry stay informed and ensure that they are implementing the most current and effective safety measures. The use of FMC in electrical installations offers several advantages, including flexibility, ease of installation, and cost-effectiveness. However, it is important to be aware of the limitations of FMC and to use it appropriately, particularly in situations where fire safety is a concern. By following the regulations outlined in the National Building Code and other relevant standards, builders and contractors can ensure that FMC is used safely and effectively in their projects. In summary, the National Building Code of Canada, Part 3, Article 9.13.2.11 provides specific restrictions on the use of FMC in rated walls. These restrictions are intended to maintain the fire resistance of the walls and prevent the spread of fire. It is important to consult the code and any applicable local regulations to understand the exact requirements and to ensure that all electrical installations meet the necessary safety standards. Consulting with qualified professionals can provide further guidance and ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Understanding and adhering to these regulations is essential for maintaining the safety and integrity of buildings and protecting occupants from the hazards of fire.